Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're talking about the Panama Canal, but we're not just looking at it as this incredible feat of engineering. We're going to look at it through the lens of a forgotten social experiment, a temporary world built for a single purpose and then completely erased, all captured in a remarkable census from 1908. So just picture the challenge they were facing. It's the turn of the 20th century. You have to carve a path through mountains and a jungle that's trying to kill you with things like malaria and constant landslides. How in the world do we even start to tackle a project that everyone thinks is impossible? Well, here's the radical answer they came up with. The solution wasn't just about bigger steam shovels or more dynamite. No, it was about social engineering on a scale nobody had ever seen. You literally have to create an entire society from scratch. A human machine designed for one single purpose, to build the canal. So how was this world actually engineered? How'd they do it? Well, believe it or not, the blueprint still exists. We can actually peel back the layers of this manufactured society by digging into a really comprehensive census that was taken in 1908. It's an incredible snapshot of this temporary civilization. Now, the census just lays it all out there. This was not some organic community that grew over time. No way. Out of 50,000 people, the demographics were meticulously crafted. Almost 70% were classified as Black, mostly workers recruited from all over the Caribbean. Just under 30% were white, the American administrators and engineers running the show, and a tiny fraction were yellow, mainly Asian service workers. This was a calculated recruitment strategy, all designed to build the perfect workforce pyramid. There's a quote from our source material that just sums it all up perfectly. It says it was an unprecedented demographic mosaic where three worlds collide, mix, and segregate. I mean, just imagine that for a second. You've got 50,000 people from three different continents, all packed into this tiny strip of land. It was like a jungle laboratory for globalization and segregation all at the same time. And this segregation, it was literally baked into the geography of the canal zone. Just look at the difference here. On one hand, you've got Ancon, the administrative hub. It's over half white, home to the managers and the doctors. But then you have a town like Empire, a massive labor camp that was 66% Black. Where you lived wasn't a choice you made. It was a direct reflection of your race and your job in this canal building machine. So yeah, these towns didn't just pop up randomly. They were placed strategically right where the work was hardest. I mean, notice the two biggest settlements on this list, Culebra and Empire. Both had over 5,000 people. And it's no coincidence they were positioned right at the epicenter of the most dangerous work, that relentless digging of the Culebra Cut. In the canal zone, your town's population was a direct function of the labor needed there. But, you know, a society built like this, it always comes with a steep price. Behind all these population stats is a really tough story of human sacrifice. So let's look at the data that reveals the harsh arithmetic of survival and what daily life was really like in the zone. Get this number, 2.5. That's devastating. For every one Black woman in the canal zone, there were 2.5 men. This tells you right away this was not a society built for families or for communities. It was a temporary labor force, plain and simple. It was made up of thousands of men who had to leave their partners, their kids, their entire homes behind, and many of them probably knew they were never going back. And you might think, okay, well, that was just for the laborers. But nope. Even among the white administrative class, the people in charge, the imbalance was stark. It was almost 5 men for every 1 woman. This just hammers home the point that this entire project was temporary for everyone involved. It was a place you came to work, to build something, but it was absolutely not a place you came to put down roots. You know what else tells a powerful story? Following the money. In just 1 year, 1907, over $3.6 million were sent through postal money orders. And look where it went. The vast majority, nearly 2.5 million of it, went straight to the USA. Those were the salaries and savings of the American engineers. But then look at the next biggest chunk. Over $236,000 sent to Barbados. These were the vital remittances from Caribbean workers, small amounts of money that were literally sustaining the families they had been forced to leave behind. And when I say they managed every aspect of life, I mean every aspect, right down to how people could blow off steam. This document here, it shows where liquor licenses were granted in 1908. Notice the names: Culebra, Empire, Gorgona, Tabernia. They were all placed strategically in the major labor hubs, the exact places with the hardest work and the largest populations of single men. The control was total. And that brings us to the final and, honestly, the most tragic act of this story. Because the ultimate success of the Panama Canal, the creation of that massive Gatun Lake, it also sealed the fate of the very society that was built to make it happen. And this timeline just shows how incredibly fast it all happened. In 1908, you have the census that captures this vibrant, teeming world of 50,000 people. But just 2 years later, they close the Gatun Dam diversion, and the lake starts to fill. By 1913, it's sealed. The clock was ticking for every single one of these communities from the moment they were even built. The human cost here is just staggering. An estimated 35,000 people. Let that sink in. That's more than 60% of the entire population we've been talking about displaced. They were forced from their homes as the waters rose. And the most brutal irony of it all is that the majority were the Caribbean workers who had poured their sweat and blood into creating the very lake that was now swallowing their world. Culebra, with its 5,500 people. Empire, with over 5,000. Gorgona, Paraiso, Las Cascadas. These weren't just names on a census document. They were the largest, most bustling towns in the whole zone. They were the heart of the entire operation. And they were all erased. Wiped off the map. Their homes, their churches, their cemeteries, just gone. Buried forever under the waters of Garden Lake. So, you see, the legacy of the canal wasn't just the concrete and steel that's still there today. The social engineering experiment of the canal zone, this highly controlled, segregated, temporary model for managing a multiracial workforce, it became a blueprint. It was a model that would be refined and exported for other American projects all over the world, from military bases to oil fields. And that really brings us to the big takeaway. This whole history of the canal zone, it forces us to look beyond the marvels of our own time and ask a really hard question. What kind of canals are we building today? And what is the hidden human cost, the social arithmetic that we're all choosing to accept in exchange for that progress?